Well, good evening there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. I am Mr. Warren Hayes, back from excursion. I was excursioning last week. It's a word, probs, but I'm back now today, and we are here to talk about professional wrestling for the next whenever. I could talk about it forever. I really could. 2 weeks ago, I was saying, getting ready, I was like, man, I'd be able to do 4 hours of content if I wanted to tonight. And people were like, do it. Like, who wants to listen to me for 4 hours? I can barely listen to myself when I'm doing this, and I'm like, that's the thing. But I'm glad you can, you folks who are joining me here live on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes on this Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, which is when we record live all the time. I'm glad all of you who are here are able to put up with me for the next, 90 minutes-ish or so. I really do appreciate it. And I honestly do. We've got tons of people again here tonight, and it never gets old to me. This is the thing. I've been doing this for I'm heading on to 3 years now. I've been doing this, and it never ceases to amaze me that week after week there are people who decide to make time out of their busy schedules to come and hang out here live and join in the chat. It humbles me every time, and it sincerely does, and it keeps me grounded. It keeps me real. I appreciate each and every one of you who are here this evening, such as Robert Larry, Tim Trevor, good to see you, Kelly Tonjes, who are always the early arrivals, right? They're always here first. Good to see all three of you. Welcome to the show. Mr. Franz is here as well. Good to see you, sir. We got Justin Firestein who's joining us. Evan Wright, how you doing? Welcome to the chat. Joe, go Indy now. How you doing, man? Welcome. Good to see you. Welcome to the chat. JS Brown is here as well. Mr. Fantastic, hello to both of you. Our boy JPQ. Big Paws on a Pup is here too. John, good to see you. DGMC is here as well. Hello. 5th generation Carney JY3. I'm gonna call you Carney moving on forward, if you're okay with that. Good to see you as well. Welcome Injection 2K. Hey, Spencer Love is here as well from Love Wrestling. Good to see everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a little part of my Thursday evenings. Appreciate it a great deal. And I appreciate everyone who's listening on their own time as well, on demand or on your favorite podcast application. The audio is there as well. Thank you. I can't tell you enough. I can't help you. I can't help. I can help you with some wrestling stuff, but there's certain things that I can't help you with. I can't help you put a bookcase together. Why? Because I'm not there. I'm actually pretty handy with putting things together. Especially if there's instructions. Like if you ask me, if you were like, Warren, here's an IKEA set for a bookshelf, I'll be like, no problem, man. Give me your Allen key. I got this. I'll twist. I'll screw those nuts in. You know what I mean? But if you were like, here, Warren, here's a handsaw. Here's some wood, some nails, perhaps some screws. Build me a bookcase, and I'll be like, well, I gotta go. So that's the kind of thing. Like my help is limited, is what I'm trying to say. But hey, look, if we're talking wrestling, I'm good. But thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. And I think I have an idea that I'm going to share with you next week. I'm going to really put a little more thought into it because it came up a little earlier today. I'm going to put some thought into it. A very easy way for all of you out there to help grow the Mr. Warren Hayes Show YouTube channel with minimal effort and while being entertaining to you at the same time. Like it goes both ways. I have something in mind. I'll get back to you on that. We'll be around here. Hey, look at this. Chris Jacobs is in the chat. Good to see you as well, sir. Welcome. So there we go. So Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being, and if you're enjoying it already, give the video a thumbs up. That stuff always helps. I appreciate it a great deal. Don't forget to go head on over to belltobells.com. That's BELLTOBELLES. It is your Women's Wrestling Wire. Guess what I just did? Concluded an interview with the Pan-African World Diaspora Champion and the winner of the very first 60-minute Iron Match, Trish Adora. She just concluded an interview, which I'll be posting on the Bell to Bells channel tomorrow. It's such a thrill to talk with Trish. She's such an amazing human being and a great wrestler on top of that. belltobells.com. Follow them on Twitter, so on and so forth. It's fantastic. Saturday morning. Well, before we get to Saturday, I got a very kind, generous super chat from Anakin. Thank you very much, Anakin. I appreciate it. By the way, it is Anakin's birthday today. So everyone press B in the chat for Anakin's birthday. Happy birthday, Anakin. Longtime friend of the show. And this is what his super chat says. It says, what better way to celebrate my birthday than with all you guys? There we go. Oh yeah, Warren giving me his top 5 New Japan matches of all time. Also, screw those nuts in is definitely a blue segue. They can pay me and I'll say their name online. Yeah, I'll get to those 5 in a second. Yes. Happy birthday again, Anakin. I'm happy you're here. Goodfella 1422 is here. Good to see you as well. Did I say hello to Chris Jacobs? I think I said hello to Chris Jacobs. Chris Jacobs is here. And Brian Payne, good to see you as well, Brian. Saturday morning, Elimination Chamber prediction show. It's going to be happening at 11 a.m. on the reg, Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, right here on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes. Who am I going to be joined with? Garrett Kidney. You probably have seen him on Twitter. Fantastic guy. He tweets a lot about Twitter, a lot of video games as well, but he's got perfect observations of the world of professional wrestling. I like Garrett a lot again, and it'll be my pleasure to talk with him about Elimination Chamber this Saturday morning. So please come and join us. It's going to be great. I'll tell you, Garrett is a guy that I consider to be extremely smart. I wish I were as smart as he was. If you want to see someone completely own me in regards to brilliance, that's what you do Saturday morning. Me and Garrett Kidney, Elimination Chamber, 11 a.m. It's going to be a good time. Mr. Warren Hayes Patreon. After I'm done here, we're heading over there. Special night tonight. I'm doing an AMA and Ask Me Anything, wrestling, video games, movies, or stuff about myself. If you still a good way to support the show, and you get to join the post show, which is for patrons only. So come on over, patreon.com/MrWarrenHayes. Join the Mr. Warren Hayes Discord as well. If you want to continue all these great chats with some great people, the link is in the description. And of course, you can join the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel here to show again some support, and you get some great emojis if you become a channel member. And last but not least, you can leave us a super chat, and I will read your question or comment on the air, like I already did with Anakin's super chat just a few seconds ago. And Evan Wright left us a super chat as well, talking about the top 5 New Japan matches of all time for Anakin. Evan Wright tosses in here Omega Okada from Dominion, Okada Shibata, which is a fantastic match, Shingo Tanahashi, which again, the recent one, and he says basically any Okada Tanahashi match, that's true. You cannot go wrong with that. And he also mentions Omega and Ibushi versus the Young Bucks. I don't remember that one just off the top of my head like that, but it has all the elements to sound great. As for me, because Anakin did ask for my 5, I think you cannot go wrong by watching Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada from Dominion in June 2018. It's the penultimate one. It's the one where Kenny wins. It is excellent. It is one of the greatest pro wrestling matches of all time. Some say the greatest. I'm going to go with Kyle O'Reilly versus Kushida, their Best of Super Juniors 2015 match. Still one of the absolute... In fact, you know what? Any of Kyle O'Reilly's matches during his New Japan run, he was absolutely on fire. And if you're just discovering Kyle O'Reilly with everything that's happening on NXT recently in his singles run, it's time for you to jump in on his past. It is so good. Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Shinsuke Nakamura is another one that I love. It's a G1 match from August 2015. 2015 was a really good year for New Japan. And Tanahashi and Nakamura just knocked it out of the park on that one. One of my favorite New Japan matches. Tomohiro Ishii versus Shingo Takagi from the 2019 G1. Jesus, that slapped. It was fantastic. I still get shivers thinking about it. And Shibata versus Ishii from the G1 2013. There you go. Those are my top. Are they my five? Are they my five favorite matches of all time? Probably not. I'm terrible at doing these kinds of lists, but they are definitely five of my favorite New Japan matches. I don't know if they're my tippy top five, but when I think about it, I'm like, oh yeah, this. So at least I have an emotional connection with them. And why don't you throw in Hiromu versus El Desperado from just last November 2020. That's a great one too. And everyone's dropping more suggestions for Anakin, who wants to get into New Japan. Anakin, everyone's dropping some great suggestions here. Want to say hello to the Round 124. Thank you for popping in this evening. So I guess you know what that means. From this point forward, it is time for the weekly wrestling inspection. I was like, where's Ben? And there's Ben. How you doing, Ben? Welcome to the chat. Of course, it's been a while since I mentioned, but Ben our mod, Ben Parizet, he's an extremely talented musician, and he drops me some stuff once in a while. And the wrestling inspection, weekly wrestling inspection theme, he came up with it. I had another theme before, and he was like, Warren, I'll make you a better one. I'm like, okay, cool. And he made me a better one. How about that? Thank you so much, Ben, and thank you everyone for joining me. Let's get to it. Let's start giving out some all of this stuff. Okay, cool beans. Let's start straight off the bat. Hey, the Iron match. I mentioned it because I interviewed Trish Adora. Look, it happened. Was a match that happened this Sunday. Excuse me, St. Valentine's Day, February 14th. Trish Adora versus Tenny Deppen. Tony Deppen. It was the first ever intergender Iron match. Like, not Iron Woman, not Iron Man. Just Iron, right? 60-minute Iron match and put together by Beyond Wrestling and Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Excellent match that was put on by Adora and Deppen. It was really, really good. Fantastically paced. Two wrestlers who have a great ground game, who are grappling experts. Deppen, a master at counter wrestling. On top of that, also a dick. Trish, she's great as well with her submission work, her ground game, but on top of that, has a great striking game. And so much of a great striking game that Tony Deppen at many occasions was just afraid when she'd get in control, because he was like, he'd hit the ring, he hit the bricks and roll out of the ring because he didn't want to get struck by anything. So Deppen was fantastic. Trish was fantastic. Deppen worked her knee throughout the majority of the match. At 51 minutes, Trish gets the first fall, hitting the Lariat Tubman, which is her clothesline from hell, but Lariat Tubman is such a better name. Deppen, a few minutes after, evens it at one fall by just pounding her knee into the mat, the knee that he was working on. That she gave up a fall there, but Trish gets a crucifix pin at the very end, just before the bell, to win the match and become the first intergender Iron match winner. Fantastic stuff. And again, you tune into Bell to Bells tomorrow to listen to the interview that I conducted with her. She's despite it all, despite being a history maker, she's so humble and modest, very grounded, and always out there thinking about how she can do things to just better herself, better her community at the same time. Because there was a charity drive throughout all this. Look, Trish is fantastic. Tony Deppen is great too, don't get me wrong. But this match ruled. It was an hour, but it didn't feel like an hour. It was so wonderfully paced. You should check it out if you haven't already. It's free. It's on YouTube. It's on the Beyond Wrestling YouTube channel. So you definitely need to check that out. It'll be a good time. Wrestling Plug Inc. Pluggo! How are you? Welcome to the chat. Another thing that happened on Sunday was NXT TakeOver Vengence Day, and we're going to keep the cool beans up there because it was a very good wrestling show. It was a great show. Miles better than Royal Rumble this year. A takeover that felt like a takeover. Maybe the lead up didn't have quite the buzz that past takeovers have had, but once you started watching the show and you saw how the show was paced and how the matches were being executed, you're like, this feels like a takeover. This feels like the takeovers that we fell in love with, 4 or 5 years ago at this point. This was it. Everything felt important. Everything had stakes. Everything had meat on the bone. And everyone was giving it their absolute best. This is my favorite takeover from quite a bit. A while. Time. Words. Sentences. And it kind of fits into the narrative that I'm trying to construct, that WWE puts on better pay-per-views than it does the weekly shows. You can completely omit the weekly shows and get into a pay-per-view, and you'll be like, wow, this is a great wrestling show. And ultimately, I think this is what matters. When down the line, we're going to be talking about the papes, in years from now, and we'll be like, well, this was really good because I'll scream it to the high heavens. But the third and fourth quarters of WWE produced some quality main roster pay-per-views. They were good to great, depending on. And look at and now we're back with TakeOver, and it was fantastic. And here's what was. It bears being mentioned. No fuck finishes throughout the evening. No shenanigans that interfered with the matches, with the results. A fucking great old school betrayal angle to close the show that didn't affect the main event at all. I love this shit. This is exactly it. That's exactly what you want out of a big time wrestling show. You want clean finishes, decisive finishes, and if you're going to do a great angle at the end, fuck yeah. It was a great angle at the end. Let's say hello to Brickbat and Metal Michael. Welcome everyone. Welcome to the chat. Let me go into it a little bit. The heat was obnoxious though. I don't know if you guys noticed, but the piped in boos, especially during the first match, they were ridiculously bad. Like it was terrible. It really, really was distracting. They seemed to have fixed it, but if there's one thing that I'm excited to get back, it's live crowds, because I can't take this piped in heat anymore. I'm over it, man. But Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez defeated Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart to win the very first Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Finals. And that is cool. I thought it was a little rough at first. A lot of people, but it picked up. It was a little, it was a little rough, but it did sort of become a lot more cohesive as the match went on. And there were a lot of people watching this match who were like, hey, Shotzi and Ember, they're booked as the heels because Dakota was basically eating. She was Ricky Morton. She was the babyface in peril for most of the match. But I think it was good storytelling. I don't think they were booked as heels all that much. They had established early on in the match that Raquel Gonzalez, Reina Gonzalez, could take both of both of those girls, both of Ember and Shotzi on at once. So their strategy when they finally got to Dakota was to cut her off completely. Absolutely. Because Reina could take both of them on like this. They wanted to win. So Shotzi and Ember did everything they could to make sure that Dakota couldn't get the pin to Raquel. And the whole, like that whole sequence when Dakota was in that, like that heel hook. Was it Shotzi who had it in? It was Ember who had the heel hook on. And Dakota was trying to reach Raquel, and Ember was doing everything to make sure that she couldn't. That was awesome. And don't confuse heel work with smart baby faces. I'm the first to shit on baby faces in WWE because they become stupid. We had smart baby faces here, making sure that Dakota Kai couldn't get to her partner because her partner is invincible. It all made sense to me. I thought it was great original storytelling here. Ember and Shotzi, I thought, had fantastic showings. So I thought this was a really good opener. I thought it was a great opening match. Raquel and Dakota, of course, now have Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler lined up. I hope they take the titles off of them. I hope they take the tag titles off of main roster for a long, long time. Not gonna lie. Johnny Gargano defeated Kushida to retain his NXT North American Championship. This was my favorite match of the night, and as good as Pete Dunne and Finn Balor was, I have a soft spot for the kind of match that Gargano and Kushida put on. You know, Gargano got his arm worked for the better part of the match, as both guys really had to rely on their ground game. Some great spots. I thought the psychology was tight throughout the match. Great stuff. I'm not sure the right man won. I really think Kushida needed a big time takeover win, a title. Johnny's bulletproof at this point. He can do anything. He's got the gimmick to do anything. So I don't know. Now they're leaning into Dexter Lumis. All right. I get it. I'm just not quite sure. MSK defeated the Grizzled Young Veterans to win the Men's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. This is good shit. Look, if WWE's plan was to rebuild the lacking tag team division, they've done good with the Dusty Classic this year. And they've done even better by showcasing two actual tag teams, not two singles guys thrown together, two actual tag teams having a hell of a match. It was a great showcase for MSK. Without overshadowing Zach Gibson and James Drake. Absolutely not. But MSK had, this was a coming out party for them. Gibson is such a great promo and such a great wrestler. 2021 has to be the year that WWE starts putting some respect on that man's name. We got to get audiences back to take our shoes off when he comes in. This is a guy who is underrated. And because I think, I've had this discussion before on the stream. I think in a lot of circumstances when it comes to wrestlers, we misuse the term underrated. Like people will say, especially back in the day, Dean Malenko was underrated. Dean Malenko was not underrated. Dean Malenko was widely recognized as a fantastic wrestler, but was underappreciated by the fans, maybe at large, and by management. He was never given some real top tier level opportunities. Sure, he was a member of the Horsemen, whatever. But you know what I mean? Like he wasn't like pushed to the moon. I think that but the fact that everyone appreciated how good of a wrestler he was doesn't make him underrated, makes him underappreciated, undervalued. And I think Zach Gibson is a guy who is underrated because I don't think people realize how great he is. as a wrestler, as a complete package. Really, I love the guy. I said it. When I don't remember when I said it, but I said it recently. If there's anyone that I'm a mark for, I think it's Zach Gibson. But look, if you want to rebuild your tag team division, you put to the forefront 2 tag teams. Like I said, not 2 singles guys, but don't put the grizzled young veterans on the back burner for months now. Now you have to continue pushing these guys, making them look strong, and other tag teams in the division as well. You've slapped a lot of tag teams together. Let's see. Keep maintaining that. Maintain the interest. Keep Imperium in the business. Keep the tag teams relevant and fun, because MSK are too good to just be relegated to nothing at this point. So there we go. It was a great match. It really was a good match. DGMC left us a super chat. Thank you very much. DGMC says, Dean Malenko's comedy stylings were underrated. This is very true. He did. Apparently, backstage, he was a cut-up. Do people still say that? He was a cut-up. And I think there were little subtle things that he'd do in the ring that were hilarious, but yeah. Io Shirai defeated Mercedes Martinez and Toni Storm to retain the NXT Women's Championship. This was fine. It was fine. It was a little odd. There were reports that the match was cut short. It was supposed to go 20 minutes, but it was, it was cut short. I mean, Io Shirai did Io Shirai things. It sucks that that commentary table just collapsed like someone who can't build an IKEA desk. Unlike Warren Hayes. Give me the Allen key, boys. I feel like Mercedes is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. I feel like she hasn't had the match in NXT yet where she's really stretched her legs. It hasn't happened yet. They work to her strengths, don't get me wrong, but she hasn't had that match yet. And I think a one-on-one Io Mercedes has a lot of value to it. But man, Toni Storm, it's not working for me. It's not. It just ain't doing it. What happened to our Stardom Toni Storm, to our UK indie scene Toni Storm? Because I don't know. It's not clicking, and it wasn't clicking when she was in NXT UK. I will hammer this home till the cows come home. She had one really good match in NXT UK against Dakota Kai, first round of the women's tournament, to get a chance to win the women's tournament, which she eventually lost to Rhea Ripley. I don't know. It's not working for me. And it's not working for me in NXT either. And I don't think the heel turn is natural for her. But I think they want her to be a babyface. The babyface they want her to be, I don't think that's her role. Oh, yeah. I think she's uncomfortable right now. And it's just ain't working. I don't know. Something not quite clicking there. Anakin JMT left us a super chat. Thank you very much. Says it's an Allen wrench, not key. Look, it's you use a key to lock in things. So you lock in, you go like this, so it's locked in. It's a key. The key to the Allen. The key, the Allen key to my heart. And the main event, Finn Balor defeated Pete Dunne to retain the NXT Championship. Absolutely fantastic match. I love hungry, aggressive, ravenous wolf Pete Dunne who just wants to hurt you. He's always looking around to sort of twist you. It's like, let go of something, he's back on you and something else. I fucking love that Pete Dunne. This is good face, better heel. And Finn in NXT is perfect. And I don't understand people saying NXT is under him. Can you believe he's NXT champion at 39 years old? What do you prefer? Finn Balor on main Smiling Finn Balor, popping the collar, getting no opportunities, can't even get a proper IC title run. What do you prefer? I much prefer Prince Devitt, the shades of Prince Devitt Finn Balor that we're getting right now. I don't know why anyone would complain otherwise. What do you, like, oh, he's not on main roster, he fell. He's not failing anything. He's wrestling. He's doing what he loves. He's in the biggest wrestling company in the world, wrestling on weekly television. He's the champ. And he's had a good, solid defense. He's got good, solid defenses under his belt. Haha. We know he's going to drop it to Killer Cross. It's inevitable. But in the meantime, he's given us some fantastic matches. There was no better a trajectory for Finn Balor's career than to go back to NXT. Anyway, Finn is still in his prime. This is, and he gets his fucking jaw broken and he's back to work. There's not enough that's being said, and I think people these days are maybe some pundits are being a little poo-pooing it a little bit because NXT isn't quite as good as it used to be, which I concur. But I mean, my God, when you look at these kinds of performances that Balor puts on and Pete Dunne puts on, you can't be. These are world class talents, and they're putting on world class matches. Jesus Christ! And then we get the angle. Anyway, you have to check out this match, absolutely right. But then we get the angle, right? Where Adam Cole comes out, Kyle O'Reilly comes out to celebrate with the Undisputed Era, and they all line up, and it feels like Kyle O'Reilly is extending a UE invitation to Finn Balor, and they all set up to do the gang signals. What is it? It's I have no coordination with my fingers, so don't even. But and Adam Cole just super kicks the shit out of Finn Balor and then super kicks Kyle O'Reilly and he leaves. What a fucking great angle. It's a great angle to end a great show. Perfect shit. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. It's a good show. It's a good show. And if the takeovers keep being this good, I'm not going to bitch about it. I'm not going to complain. Let's keep it rolling. You know what I mean? But, since we're talking about it, since we're talking about how great TakeOver was. Oh, wait, hang on. DGMC left us a super chat. Excuse me. Thank you very much again, DGMC. Says, I'm not 100% sold on Adam Cole's heel turn, as it reminds me of how Ring of Honor deprived fans of the Cole face turn they wanted in 2015, just so he could feud with Kyle. Yeah, I get what you mean. Okay, I can get behind that. I see what you want, what you're saying there. Well, here's the thing. I think we got the Adam Cole face turn. The nice guy, the supportive guy, the supportive friend. He's a betrayer. Pat McAfee warned us. He's a betrayer. That's what he does. He's ready. Look, he's ready to throw the Undisputed Era away, just trash it, just so we can get another shot at the NXT title. I mean, there's some good stuff out of this. I'm okay with it. It's going to be really interesting. I'm excited. I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm excited because the Kyle O'Reilly singles push continues. And I don't think we have to recognize that WWE is trying to elevate a guy from the inside, from the mid-card position, try to put him up there to the top of the NXT card. Had his match with Finn Balor. Now he's moving on to He's moving on to Adam Cole. I mean, these are big time. This is the big time for Kyle O'Reilly. Breaking away, coming across as a single star. I'm okay with this. I love it. I absolutely love it. So, yeah. So I was about to say, as great as NXT was, TakeOver on the Sunday, 24 hours later, we get Raw. And I tweeted out. I said, it's fascinating to me, and I'm going to read it verbatim. It's fascinating to me that the same company, the exact same company, can go from a badass show like last night's TakeOver, I was tweeting this on Monday, can go from a badass show like last night's TakeOver to a frustrating and unrewarding show like WWE Raw within 24 hours. Now, and then people were responding, oh, it's Vince, because of Vince. I didn't say I don't understand. I understand why it's like this. I get it. I know the reasons. But it's fascinating that we can go from something so good to something so mediocre within the same lunar cycle. Within a revolution of the earth. You know? I really do think you have to be a true to form blind fan who has never experienced anything else outside of wrestling to say, nah, NXT and Raw are great. They're not on the same level. We went to full quarter hours on Raw. Near one full half hour without any wrestling. Any wrestling at all. This is a common theme on my show, I know. But wrestling fans were the only ones who think it's okay to tune into wrestling and spend full quarter hours without any wrestling on it. Imagine watching a comedy show. Again, it's always the same example I use. Imagine watching a comedy program and for 30 minutes you don't even get a joke. Not necessarily a joke that will make you laugh. Just no jokes at all. There's a difference between putting on good matches and quality matches. We didn't even get a match for 30 minutes. We go from Johnny Gargano and Kushida to fucking Lacey Evans announcing she's pregnant, to Asuka being a non-entity, to a match being completely thrown away. There's so much padding on Raw to make up 3 hours that it becomes the most insufferable thing to watch. And there's so much padding and so much good there's so much padding that it squishes the good. We have trouble really focusing on the good stuff that's happening because there is good stuff on Raw. There are good things happening. Bobby Lashley's push, guys, I keep telling you over and over and over again. It's the best thing that WWE is doing right now, and it's just lost in a sea of junk. Sheamus is having a great resurgence, and he's more interesting than he's ever been in his previous singles runs. He's being great. Who would have thought that the latter part of 2020 we'd be excited to have Sheamus involved in matches and involved in the main event scene, but here we are. Drew McIntyre is always a pleasure. I compare it to, here's the thing. And I know, like I said, I understand the reasons. But Honda, the car company, also, builds the Civic, the Honda Civic, for instance, but also builds luxury cars under the Acura brand, right? So they have the two types of cars. I'm simplifying this, right? But of course, I know there's other models and whatnot, but despite it all, despite there being two different models of car, they're still both very good cars. There's not one car that's The Civic isn't complete shit, even compared to the Acura. The Acura is a great car, but the Civic as well, for its price range, whatever. The point is that despite the fact that they're two completely different vehicles, they're still quality cars. So, like I said, I understand that Vince is in control of one and Triple H is in control of the other. I understand, but doesn't it fascinate you that this company can subsist, can live, and within 24 hours put out two products of such extreme quality, with such extreme quality disparity, such difference in quality, such an extreme separation. It's fascinating to me. It really is. I want to say hello to Kristen Ashley.
Oh, yeah.
Who is the first lady of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. Good to see you. Welcome to the chat. Anthony Gaston. Good to see you. Welcome to the chat as well. And Anakin left us a super chat. Thank you very much, Anakin. He says, Honda. Oh, I'm sorry. Kristen Ashley. Kristen Ashley, the first lady of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show, is here. Just got off a rant, darling. I apologize. Anakin's super chat. Now let's move on. Anakin says Honda is the WWE of car manufacturing. They have weird designs. Their outside mirrors alone confuse our engineers. There's a lot of things that are confusing about WWE, I will agree. But there you go. Thank you very much for the super chat, Anakin. I appreciate you and your super chats. But I appreciate you. And happy birthday again. Let's move on to some cool beans. You know what? The Gauntlet match was pretty fun on Raw. I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. You know, outside of Randy Orton being completely befuddled by modern technology and let himself be counted out of the ring, I think it was solid. Drew had a great performance. Continues to be a bloody workhorse for the company. His stint with Jeff Hardy was fun. Sheamus won, which is cool. You know, finally getting the best of a defeated Drew. And it was a great performance by Drew, don't get me wrong, but why not elevate someone here? Why not give the Iron Man performance to Sheamus? Because I was sort of positing this on the pre-show stream, which I do every Monday, right? Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I do pre-shows right here, live, if you want to ever jump in. You know, Drew has been the guy for the better part of the year. Sheamus, you know, I think he needs more and more credibility to establish himself as a strong contender. Not that I think they've been doing a good job with him, but imagine if he had the Drew performance and defeated Drew on top of that. And I had also posited that Drew, why is the champion in the Gauntlet match? Shouldn't the champion have the prerogative to say, hey, you know what? I'm popping out last of the Elimination Chamber because I'm the champion. And I'd be okay with that. I'd take like I said, I take a smart babyface any day of the week. But, you know, since we're in alpha male universe within WWE, Vince would probably have you're champion, you go out first. You're a babyface champion, you go out first, pal. I mean, that's not smart. It's not being a smart champion. You're a champion, you want to hang on to the belt, because if you hang on to the belt and you're a champion, you make more money. And it should be the champion's prerogative to say, I'm going in at this stage in the match. I'm going in first. I'm going in third. I'm going in last. Well, Drew should go in last. And I'd applaud Drew for doing that. Smart man. Let the others tire themselves out, then you get them. But that's not what an alpha male does. Fuck you, Vince. I'm arguing with Vince McMahon in my mind. I don't know. But here's the thing, and I was chatting with someone on Twitter about this, and he had this great idea, and I apologize if I searched for the tweets. I'm sorry. I can't give proper credit, but we came up with a scenario regarding Miz, which would have been great. What if Miz had cashed in on Monday? Hear me out here. Here's the thing. Miz, at the start of the show, recused himself from the Elimination Chamber. He's like, I'm not going in there, right? And you're like, what a shit thing to do. But what if he has a plan? Like, let's say he takes him, he removes himself from the Elimination Chamber, fights Kofi for John Morrison, which didn't make sense to me anyway. Then Drew has his grueling Elimination Chamber match, Gauntlet Match, excuse me. He does the exact same type of performance. He wins, or he loses to Sheamus. He's spent. Drew is. Fucking Miz comes out and he cashes in the Money in the Bank briefcase and he wins. He pins Drew McIntyre, and on 1 week before Elimination Chamber, the title's not there anymore. It becomes a number one contenders Elimination Chamber, and Miz wins. And that's why Miz reclused himself, took himself out of the Elimination Chamber so that he wouldn't have to defend it. And that would have made Miz the smartest guy in the room and would have boosted him up tons worth, and would have given a fantastic talking point going into Elimination Chamber, going into WrestleMania, the road to WrestleMania. This would have, everyone would have been chomping at the bit to get to give their thoughts on this. I think it would have been great. Give us a little suspense, a little something, a little unexpected twist here. Sheamus wins, but Miz cashes in. It would have been fantastic. But no, let's continue treating Miz like a goof. And, you know, his cash-in's going to be nothing, really. Anywho, that would have been good. Let's keep the cool bean train going. Choo-choo! We're going to talk about the AEW World Women's Championship Eliminator Tournament. The Japan side happened on Monday on YouTube. I got a few thoughts. I think Venny is fucking amazing. That's my main takeaway. Venny is a very good professional wrestler, and I want more of Venny on a regular basis on my television screens. She's fucking great. What are you? They're fucking great. Excuse me. They're fucking amazing at what they do. Maki Ito. Listen, here's the thing. I think that she comes to North America, works for AEW, and she does that intro that she does 2 times. The 3rd time she comes out, everyone in the goddamn audience knows the words in Japanese by heart, and they're singing along with her, and it becomes bigger than Judas. She's got it. I think she's a good wrestler. I think she still has maybe a little room to improve still. But she's got the personality. She's got the look. She's got the charisma. She's got that woman. She will create money for AEW if they bring her in once all of this is done. You have Aja Kong in there who look great. She's in the late stage of her career, and she's doing things that I'm like, what are we doing? What are you doing, Aja? No, she's not, doing fucking destroyers or head scissors. That was never a thing, but she was great. And this is Aja Kong. I don't know if you guys know the story of when Aja Kong came to WWF, right? There's this story that goes around that Vince McMahon, he brought her in, or at least talent, whatever. WWF brought her in, and Vince McMahon was so terrified of Aja Kong that he preferred to shut the women's division down than having to try to continue the division with her in it and try to get her to do what he wanted, because she scared the piss out of him. And of course, there was this was at the same time, this was the part when Medusa showed up on Nitro and tossed the women's belt in the trash. So then McMahon, that probably also contributed. But imagine having Aja Kong, 1990s, in her fucking prime, and being like, nope, I'm shutting down the division. I don't understand. It's wild. There was some great matches. Everything. I thought it was a great hour. Just easy to watch. Yuka Sakazaki versus Mei Suruga. Mei Suruga cried on a Choco Pro watch along after or during because she was disappointed in her match and was like, she was wonderful. She was wonderful. Everything was great. The winners were Yuka Emi Sakura, whose match with Veni ruled. Just want to put that out there again. Veni rules. Ryo Mizunami and Aja Kong defeated Rin Katakura. Katakura she did a fantastic job selling for the monster Aja. Aja was so... I love me a wrestler who can chew gum as she's beating the shit out of someone. I can appreciate that. Aja Kong was like... just wham! Just chewing and I love it. It was such she's so good. All AEW signees, who won, Yuka, Emi, Ryo, Aja, all people who've wrestled in AEW before. It doesn't bother me. That's fine. That's what you do. That's what you do with your contracted talent. You make them go forward. That's fine. It was good. Evan Wright left us a super chat. Thank you very much, Evan. He says Excalibur was fantastic on solo commentary. He really, really was. He really was. And I think we were talking in the he did a great job, but it's unsurprising. He's a guy. He understands the value in commentating pro wrestling like it should. So I'm not surprised. I think we were talking in the Discord about this I think Tony would have been a great compliment with him as well. I think Tony Schiavone would have put the research in, like he did the card reveal, and he made sure you know that the guy did a bit of research. He found out a little bit on every woman, learned how to pronounce their names correctly. No way you were putting JR here. You know what I mean? Because JR would have been like, Sassafras, she's got all those ponytails. That's distracting to an opponent, having all those ponytails. And yes, he got Veni's pronouns perfectly too. As opposed to me, who fucked up with, out of the gate here, as I'm talking about Veni, and I'm saying how great I think they are. But at least I corrected myself. That sort of validates me, right? Doesn't make me that much of an asshole, right? Rick Poling. Good to see you. Welcome to the chat. Do I think, just some closing thoughts here. Do I think that the women's eliminator tournament, all the matches should have been on Dynamite? Yes. I've seen the arguments. Production value wasn't there. There's no way you should have put that on Dynamite. It was shot. It didn't have the AEW production value. They had to get it all done by Revolution. I know again, this is the kind of thing where I'm always like, I see the arguments. But all what I want to say, once again, ladies and gentlemen, that these are all decisions that AEW makes. All decisions that AEW decides to make. If they wanted to make these matches happen in another environment, in a bigger venue with more production value, they could have decided to do that. If they wanted to not rush it to Revolution and have a long-term tournament, have it last a few weeks, couple of months, whatever, they could have done that too. These are all decisions that they created for themselves that brought them to make other decisions, to be like, well, we're going to put the better part of these matches, of the first round matches anyway, as far as we know, on off of the main show on Dynamite on Wednesdays. And I can't. It's difficult for me to get behind that, just because these are things that are decided. They don't have their backs up against the wall where it's like, we were stuck here. We had to get it done by Revolution. You decided that you were going to get it done by Revolution. Like, there are many avenues that could have been taken here. This is the one they chose. Okay, and I've heard also the arguments that, it's sexist, and I've heard these arguments as well. And the thing here if you hear an underrepresented group within any walk of life who are making statements and calling out and saying this is, like, for instance, in this case, this is sexist, you don't have to respond, folks. You don't have to go on the offensive. You don't have to attack. You don't have to try to make them understand, pull out some bar charts and be like, well, ratings were like this. Listen to what they're saying. You know, if you were around here when the speaking out movement was happening on the MrWarrenHayes show, back when I was still on Fightful, I was telling everyone, the moment to judge isn't here when you have people who are expressing how they feel they are being well, in the case of speaking out, victimized, but in the cases when people are saying, this is sexist, I don't understand why they're doing it, these are people that are trying to express something. Now, you can come with all the logic that you want and be like, oh, well, you know, maybe AEW didn't have the money or whatever. If you hear these things, listen to what these people are saying. Maybe you won't agree with them, but there's something to be said that if an underrepresented group is, like for a better term, speaking out here, not everything needs to be argued, and they don't need to have to say, oh, well, this is just the way it is. Because I'm looking forward, because if everyone is so not bothered with tournaments happening on YouTube on their own special show, I'm excited for a TNT title tournament that'll happen on YouTube too for the guys. And I'm sure everyone will be okay with that as well. I'm looking forward to it. Otherwise, you know, that's kind of par for the course. 16-man elimination tournament, or on Dark or wherever. That's where I want to close it up. That's all. Just take the time to listen. Let's get some warm soda going. By the way, congratulations to Cody and Brandy Rhodes for their congratulations to them on their baby girl. Wonderful for them. Glad they felt like they had to share it. I'm being stupid. It was harmless. It was a quick thing. It's their show. It's Cody's show. Let him do whatever the fuck he wants. And it was, 30 seconds. We got it. No fires were set. I'm happy. We're moving into the big match on March 3rd. Red Velvet and Cody versus Jade Cargill and Shaq. We had a basketball montage with Shaq and Jade. They were shooting hoops. I'm like, okay. Like, what? What? Why? Who? I don't know how people are excited. I don't know how people are excited for the debut of Jade Cargill. I don't understand. I think, are we confusing excitement with curiosity? Because curiosity, I've got plenty of it. I've got plenty of it. But I don't know what there is to be excited about. She has a logo. I mean, why is it a big deal that Jade Cargill is wrestling? And why are we making a big deal out of it? Shaq is coming and he's adding, the star power, and that's cool. And our boy Evan here, Evan is a member of the MrWarrenHayes Discord, who I appreciate a great deal because we don't always agree on stuff. And, he still hangs around and we have our disagreements, but they're always civil. And last night I was talking about this in the Discord, and he brought up the point, and he says, he brought up a point. You're not being called out. No, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. Because actually it was that discussion where I was like, I feel like I need to put more thought into this. And Evan said, isn't this a big deal for women? We keep saying, and he was targeting me. I know he was targeting me. He said, isn't it a big deal for women? We keep saying that we want big things for women on AEW. Isn't this a big thing for the women in AEW? And I'm like, yes, but I don't want to confuse things here. Not everything is a big mishmush here. I'd probably be saying this exact same things if it was Steve Cargill and not Jade Cargill. You know, I'd definitely be having the same type of discourse here. It's great that AEW, don't get me wrong, and I'm going to clarify this because I don't think I haven't said it as clearly as this, but it's something I sincerely want to get across here. It's great, absolutely fantastic that AEW are using the Shaq thing, bringing in an outside mainstream star to give some shine to the women at the same time, right? Because we have Red Velvet who is going to benefit from this exposure, from this big time match. Red Velvet. And if anything, I'm more excited for Red Velvet than anything else in this match because she's homegrown AEW talent. She's from the ground up, worked her way through Dark, starts winning matches, ends up on Dynamite, gets put into a big time fucking angle. That, yes, absolutely, 100% is great for the women. My point is with Jade is that I don't understand why people are excited to see her wrestle when we do not know what she is capable of. We've never seen it. We don't know. She's an unknown quantity, and wrestling is a business where you constantly hear about paying your dues and proving yourself. Jade is an anomaly here, okay? Cody from day one, old school wrestling type Cody, could have very much said to Jade, the first day she came in and started cutting a promo on him, he could have picked up a microphone and said, "Who are you? I do not know who you are. You're stepping to me? I don't think so." And she could be like, "I'm going to prove myself." And what if Jade then had a series of squash matches and becomes like this dominant force in the women's division? That would have been a lot more compelling, and we would have gotten to learn about Jade, get to know her, get to either be on her side or not, whatever. But right now she's just being dropped in this situation where she's supposed to be this big deal and we don't know why. It's all hype. She's all hype at this point. So of course I'm curious to see what's going to happen, but I'm not excited. I'm not like, whoa, finally we get to see Jade. I'm like, finally we get to see Jade. There's a nuance there. Tell me, look at Teal Piper. Do you remember Teal Piper, Roddy Piper's daughter? 2019, she pops out a little bit out of nowhere, and suddenly she's doing the media rounds with AEW. Roddy Piper's daughter is going to be in the women's casino battle royale at AEW at All Out, I think so, right? And everyone is excited. It's like Roddy Piper's daughter, and she's good looking, she's charming, she has the jacket. She says, "I'm training." Well, she gets to the ring. Finally, she's in the final group, the fourth suit, and she does a thing, and she gets tossed out. In the meantime, she gets signed with Women of Wrestling. Wow. And she shows up, but she never wrestles. Folks, she doesn't even have a cage match entrance. Entry, excuse me. She doesn't even have an entry on Cage Match. That's how little she's been wrestling. Because it kind of turns out that she's too green. She's not ready for the big time. She go back. That's the thing. So she ends up with all this hype. And we're like, yeah, finally, I'm excited. Roddy Piper's daughter. And it's like, why was I excited about this? Now here's the thing. I am not going to come here and tell you that she's going to have a bad match. I don't know. That's the point, is that none of us knows. But AEW has created such a high standard for Jade at this point that she's been set up to fail. If we had seen some matches beforehand, a warm-up match next week or something like that, I mean, they still could pull that out of their hat. And I think it would be good for them to do that, sort of pull the trigger on it before the big match. Let the people know what we're getting into. Give us a reason to be excited or not, but give us a reason. I think they're setting her up to some extremely lofty expectations, which she will either live up to or won't. And you know that in the minds of a lot of wrestling fans, whatever she does, she's doomed from the start. I just want to see her succeed. I really, really do. Because whatever happens on the 3rd is not her fault. If she fails, if she succeeds, then it's all on her. But if she doesn't live up to expectations, that's not her fault. That's AEW that will have created this Frankenstein. It's just that simple. So I want her to succeed. And I want to be impressed. I want to get my socks knocked off. But I can't get into the hype. I just don't. I'm like, give me something that I can chew on. Why wasn't she training in the ring with Shaq? Has someone told Shaq that he's wrestling? Because if he's just sitting around and trying to throw to land free throws, he wasn't ready back for his NBA career. He won't be ready for a wrestling match. Look, there's still time for more montages and shit, but I don't know. I don't know. They're curious, yes, excited, and I'm afraid they're setting her up to fail. Kiwi Rob, good to see you. Welcome to the chat from all the way from New Zealand. Hey, cool beans. We're getting a revival of exploding death matches. Exploding barbed wire death matches! Look! Hayabusa and Onita in AEW confirmed! Bring back Cactus Jack and Terry Funk. One more for the road, boys! I'm stupidly excited about this because the Japanese FMW death matches are so fucking over the top that I can't wait to see what they're going to do in AEW. And I want the sirens. I want the fucking sirens. I want refs in bulletproof hazmat and bomb-proof hazmat suits. And this is coming from, I'm not a deathmatch guy. I've watched some FMW. It's not my cup of tea. I appreciate the absurdity of it. The overwhelming ridiculousness of having fucking landmines, around a ring and shit like that. Shark-infested waters. It's so ridiculous. I love it. It's the absurdity sometimes that I miss in wrestling because we all take it so fucking seriously, and hey, I'm guilty as charged, right? So when we get something so fucking over the top like this, North American soil, so please, no one tell Chris Cruz that AEW is doing this. I've watched some CZW, I've watched some GCW. It's not my cup of tea. But the question that I'm wondering, the question that I'm at that I want to know, is how is the AEW going to treat the deathmatch stuff? Because Jimmy Havoc used to be employed, right? You remember that? And he's a deathmatch guy, but he wasn't. He was doing deathmatch light only a couple of times in AEW. So it was very much like toned down death matches, right? Is this, how far are they going to go, or are they going to neuter it a bit because it's AEW and they got to be careful, whatever, they got these standards that they want to protect. But look, in the essence of the announcement and the absurdity of it, I am so into this throwback announcement, bringing back something that is obscure, somewhat obscure in wrestling history, right? Because it's not something you hear about on WWE TV, but it's somewhat obscure, but so influential in the development of wrestling as well. We're bringing it back. How could you not be excited about that? It's so wonderfully grotesque in its essence. I can't wait to see how this is going to be executed. This is an attraction. It's an attraction match. It's something that at the very least you'll be like, I absolutely have to see this. I absolutely have to see how this is gonna turn out. DGMC left us a super chat. Thank you very much. DGMC. He says Kenny has to redo Onita's dome entrance, right? That would be so badass. Oh, that would be so... He's probably thought of that, right? Right, he's probably thought of that, hasn't he? He has to have. All right. And some more cool beans. Riho versus Serena Deeb. Holy shit. Great match. First and foremost, out of the gate, Riho back in AEW. It's a great thing for the division. It's a great thing that she is back. She's a star, their first women's champion. She's over. You cannot be upset with Riho coming back. You really can't. She's well liked. She's over, like I said. Serena Deeb. My God. Serena Deeb is so good at professional wrestling. I don't think anyone in the division, in the women's division, can even touch her. That's how she's so good. I think, as good as the match was, I think Serena Deeb helped Riho out in a couple of spots. I think she was very generous, and that's what a real ring general does. I think that in a few years, when we start looking back at the periods, this period in AEW's history, especially when we start talking about the women's division, I think we're going to look back here and we're going to see what a turning point the hiring of Serena Deeb was for the division. I really do. And we're going to look back at it and we're like, Jesus, it was the best move they could do. She's absolutely fantastic every single time. Every time. She is unquestionably their most consistently excellent performer. Every single time. And Riho pinned Serena Deeb, so Riho is moving forward in the tournament because this is part of the tournament. So Riho has a claim on the NWA Women's title. Wouldn't we all agree? So when the tournament, I don't know why I was expecting someone to answer me back. Thank God no one answered me back because I'm supposed to be alone here, right? So So when Riho loses the bracket, because she's going to lose to Britt Baker. I'm telling you guys, this is my prediction. Riho is losing to Britt. When Riho loses the bracket, she should go straight back to Serena Deeb. Give us another match. I could have these two wrestling each other for months on end. This so entertaining. So fucking good. She's so good. They're both good. But Deeb, man, she's on another level. It's good stuff. DGMC left us a super chat. Thank you very much. DGMC says Mox shows up in a black Hummer smoking a cigar for the death match, right? Yeah, exactly. Oh, Jesus. That'd be... Oh, the throwbacks they could do. It'd be so good. Thank you again, DGMC. I want to talk about the Kyle O'Reilly stuff that happened after not TakeOver, but NXT last night. Kyle O'Reilly was Kyle O'Reilly got punked. Kyle O'Reilly got punked by his former friend Adam Cole, and he ate a brain buster on the stairs. Got hurt there. Oh, well, okay, let me just circle back to the super chat here real quick, just because we're moving on from AEW. Evan Wright left us a super chat again. Thank you very much, Evan. I appreciate it. Says, could Tay, as in Tay Conchi, play spoiler and beat Nyla next week? Yep. She could be the bracket buster for the women's tournament. I really do. I think that if you were going to go with a surprise underdog win, you'd go with her as opposed to Anna Jay, because I don't think you can book this tournament and not have Britt Baker just not steamroll, but go through it. Britt is the face of the women's division. It wouldn't make sense to me. Unless they suddenly want to strap a rocket on Anna Jay, which would be okay, but it'd be a weird decision. Because I think I argued this on Monday when I was previewing. I think you have to pull the trigger on Britt Baker / serious contender for the women's title, and you have to have her beat Sheeta now. I think this is the time to do it. I think she's over like crazy. I think she's improved dramatically. This is the moment to pull the trigger on it. But thank you for the super chat. But I do think TJ has a possibility. Yes. If they want to do it, this is the match to do it. Okay, so the Kyle O'Reilly stuff hits the brain buster, and the match ends like that. Now, there were fans in attendance, right? And they were taking pictures of the after stuff that was happening. And Kyle O'Reilly, and there were people who were tweeting out pictures saying that Kyle O'Reilly was having a seizure after the brain buster. And this started creating a high level of concern for the well-being of Mr. O'Reilly, which is normal. So a lot of people started sharing the pictures, got really, really worried. News outlets started picking it up, reporting that he was apparently having a seizure. They pulled him out on a stretcher. There were tweets, like I said, saying, Kyle O'Reilly is responsive, checking with sources, so on and so forth. And it turns out Kyle O'Reilly's fine. Kyle O'Reilly was working a stretcher job. Turns out he's doing a story. I'm like, cool. The reaction that a lot of people that I've seen quite a bit since is a little mixed, and I'm not quite sure how to deal with it, because a lot of people felt that it went too far. Okay, now I want to preface this. It's important, right? It's always important that I don't want to diminish anyone's feelings about this, because anyone can get triggered for any reason, and some people have very valid reasons, right? Everyone could, hearing about someone, like if you're an epileptic yourself, or you're, struggling with seizures for multiple reasons, maybe, hearing someone having a seizure gets you out of your comfort zone, and I can appreciate that. That's fine. We're in professional wrestling. We're watching professional wrestling, which is a business, which is a form of entertainment where people feign injuries all the time. Like, that's the bread and butter of a match, right? That's the bread and butter of a match, essentially, where wrestlers fake injuries, whether in the ring, outside, stretcher jobs. That's what they're supposed to do. So, if anything here, I think Kyle O'Reilly is just too guilty of doing his job a little too well. What I think happened is, I think the internet worked itself into a shoot. I think Hulk Hogan was right. Jabroni marks that don't know it's a work when you work a work and you work yourself into a shoot. I honestly think that's exactly what happened. And the problem was exacerbated when news sites started reporting it as fact. Like our boys at Wrestling Inc. Raj was all over it and was tweeting it out like it was a serious situation, when everyone should have just taken a couple of steps back and like, why are they doing this? Now, I can understand the thought process going through this. Cameras are off. You get some footage from a fan who's like, oh shit, he's convulsing and there's referees and medical personnel putting him on a gurney and he's leaving. So, yes, it can be concerning because the cameras were off. And then you have wrestling sites that are reporting, hey, yeah, he's going to be okay. Adam Cole said, gave him a thumbs up. He's going to be all right. You're like, okay. When it comes back around and you realize that it was a work, they're like, well, why did they not put it on TV? WWE shoots shit for their social media all the time. Maybe they were saving this to put it on Twitter, and now they're not going to do it because it's contentious now, right? Maybe they're not going to do it because, got the people worked up a little too much. Maybe we're not going to use the footage, kind of thing. And I don't think, I think the whole thing was a mess because the internet let it be a mess. Because people got riled up. There was gas that was thrown on this fire by certain news outlets who were treating it as the news, as a legitimate injury. And other wrestlers I know and other people were tweeting out, oh, I hope he's okay, etc. I know Dakota Kai tweeted out thoughts for Kyle O'Reilly, but what if she's in on the work? Renee Paquette was sending out good vibes, but Renee is picking up the news that she's seeing on the internet and it's just, shit, Kyle is hurt? So she's like, oh, well, I'll react too. Because she's seeing Raj. God bless you, Raj. I like you, Raj. You're a cool guy. But you were you were stoking the flames on this one. Not just you, there were a lot of, but, you're Raj, Wrestling Inc., Trusted Figures. I'm not going to sit here and say, and chide WWE or Kyle O'Reilly for doing their fucking job, for telling a wrestling story, for putting over a wrestling injury. I'm not. What I am going to say is this. This is exactly the type of moment where you sort of have to take a step back and you evaluate where you get your news sources from, where you get your news from, who you trust and who you don't trust as much. And and roll with it. This is one of these reflective moments where you're like, you know what? I got riled up into this, and you have to identify why. WWE in this case, in this particular scenario, did nothing out of the ordinary. And like I said, the worst part here is that Kyle O'Reilly was too good at selling the injury. That's the thing, right? We're in a business. It's a quintessential wrestling story. Wrestler runs in, hurts another wrestler, hurt wrestler gets stretchered. But it was a frenzy, it was a mob thing. The sites that we trust, or some of them, not all of them, that we trust to report news are reporting that it's a shoot, when in reality it's a work. I can understand that people feel betrayed, but wrestling's a work. And if you don't want to be, and it's the oldest work in the book, the stretcher job. If you don't want to be worked, I don't know what to tell you. But they done good. They done good by me. And here's the thing. I don't want to go too... As Justin mentioned in the chat here, I just peeked at it here, and he's right. Like, you know, Daniel Bryan, when he came back from his injury, he was always clutching his fucking neck. It was every time he'd take a bump, he'd like, my neck. And I'd fucking hate it, and it crushed me on the inside. I'm like, fuck you, Daniel Bryan. Stop pulling at my heartstrings like this. But that's it. And no, WWE didn't have to clear it up. That's the thing. It's not WWE's fault. And that's the thing. It's not WWE's fault. WWE did their job. Their job is to create stories based around injuries. The problem here was people taking unreliable accounts as gospel, and the media, certain members of the media, maybe not doing their full due diligence before reporting on shit. And it's not WWE's fault. And yes, it's a work, and if it got you, fantastic. Fantastic. That's what it's for. You're supposed to be suckered into this shit. It's WWE did everything they had to do perfectly well. But here's and in the defense of everyone who went after, who reported this, we know that some wrestlers just like to mess with the dirt sheets. They do. And there's some wrestlers that'll just, that once in a while will drop some stupid stuff and will leak weird shit and just to mess with them. When we know this, and the savvier reporters will be able to differentiate between the good and the bad. This stuff happens. But keep one thing in mind. Keep one thing in mind. Nothing in wrestling gets leaked to a reporter if there isn't someone who has an agenda behind that leak. There is always a reason why something gets leaked to a reporter. There's always someone who has there's a purpose behind it, whatever it is. Doesn't have to be necessarily sinister, but there's a reason behind it. Always keep that in mind. The Sammy Guevara stuff that happened also this week, where suddenly Sammy Guevara, apparently he has heat. He didn't want to do an angle with Impact. The impact, the fact that leaked is proof that there's someone who was out to get Sammy Guevara. Someone was out to get him. someone wanted to shit on him. Apparently, from what from what I hear, and I think it's from Meltzer, I think he was reporting this. Apparently, Sammy Guevara didn't want to lose to Ace Austin, and apparently it was like in a 6-man setup. I don't know. Like Guevara didn't want to lose to someone, and allegedly it was Ace Austin. Someone gets pissed off in Impact. Was like, I'm speculating here, right? I'm not saying that this was it. I'm just speculating. Someone in Impact hears about it. Look at this fucker coming in here, thinks he's too good to lose to our boys. Well, picks up the phone, calls Brian Alvarez, whoever. I'm speculating, right? Brian, did you know that Sammy Guevara is a little piece of shit and he didn't want to do this? Really?
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
that's how this kind of shit gets leaked. Trust me on this. There is nothing that leaks to the media. No wrestler, producer, a referee. There is no one who leaks anything to the media without having a distinct purpose behind it. And what was leaked this week was to generate public heat on Sammy Guevara. Be like, oh yeah, look, Sammy Guevara, what a little son of a bitch. Doesn't want to work, doesn't want a job. What a prima donna, what a princess. We've heard it all. That's exactly what people were talking about. Just keep all of those things in mind when you turn to news sources. And try, and at the same time, here's a challenge for you. Try to differentiate what is news and what is gossip. Because not all news is gossip, and not all gossip is news. Just a little bit of homework for you. Evan Wright left us a super chat. Thank you very much, Evan. He says that Sammy Heat skit was amazing content. Love it. Yeah, with the snow angels and all of that. I didn't see all the vlog. I started watching it and then I had to work. But it was good. I'm glad he's having some fun with it. I mean, regardless, whatever happened, you know, it's whatever. Whatever. Anyway, folks, that's let's wrap it up. That wraps up the weekly wrestling inspection for this week. I have nothing left to drink. I am parched. Did you watch it to this point? Give the video a thumbs up if you did. Hey, real quickly, and I promise real quickly. Something that I don't think a lot of people have been talking enough about. I don't know if you heard earlier this week. WWE announced that. Let me pull this up here. That it had announced to its staff, not their talent, right? Not their talent. Not the wrestlers, not the independent contractors, but their staff, the people who actually work in the offices. We're told this week that raises and promotions were going to be put on hold for 2021. The fucking year after WWE posts a record high in revenue, $1 billion, near $1 billion. In monies for WWE. They turn around and they say to their employees, you know what? No raises, no bonuses, no promotions. Y'all are good this year. Instead, what they're doing is they are giving their wrestlers $3,000 of company stock in lieu of bonuses and whatnot. I didn't know WWE was suddenly a tech startup circa 2004, where they'd pay their employees with stock options instead of money to get through a pandemic. Their families. Brian Thurston, of course, of WrestleNomics, God bless you, Brandon. Pretty much the only guy I think who's really been following the story. Says multiple employees he's been in contact with say morale has suffered because of the decision to freeze raises and promotions after helping the company succeed financially through the pandemic, taking on additional work related to furloughs, and helping achieve WWE's most profitable year. Workers were hoping to be rewarded for their effort. But they weren't. Instead, here, have $3,000 worth of stock. Let's hope it keeps rising, which it's not, by the way, because despite having record highs, it fell short of the year, or Q4 fell short of expectations. So then the investors get nervous and they start pulling their money. It's bullshit. And here's the thing. Here's another thing that Brandon did. Company executives, listen to these craven motherfuckers. Company executives, by the way, just in case, I'm kind of biased on this one. Company executives did not announce the decision in a company-wide meeting, which added to the frustration for some. News of the freeze was communicated to employees by managers on Friday. The bastards don't even have the courage to get on a fucking company-wide Zoom call, have Khan there with H and Steph, and be like, hey, you know what? We're not doing raises and shit. No, they're letting the fucking middle managers tell the news, and the middle managers are like, why am I putting up with this shit? I'm not getting a raise for this. I'm not going to get a bonus because I'm telling the people who work under me are not getting bonuses. What the fuck is this company? I don't understand why anyone would really want to continue working for WWE. You could say, that that the company maybe, they threw the $3,000 stock, to them because maybe they wanted to retain some people, right? Don't run away, we'll hang on to you. Here's some stock, it'll grow. You don't want stock when you're trying to, pay your mortgage. Stock is not going to pay your mortgage. Stock is not going to compensate for your better half who had to stop working because of the pandemic, not as lucky as you are to be continuing and doing this shit. It is such a shit move, and this goes beyond just wrestling and creative. It has nothing to do with it. It has nothing to do with the product on Monday nights, guys and gals. This has everything to do with $1 billion company not valuing its staff, its employees, not giving them what they rightfully deserve. This is Vince McMahon and company saying, well, where are they going to go? Let's not give them bonuses. Where are they going to go? Who's hiring in a pandemic? He's not wrong. But it's such a shitty way of seeing things. It's disgusting. It's hoarding wealth. Told you guys about this. It's not giving back. It's greed. That's all it is. And you are not going to, don't even get me started on, they still have to cut, they still have to be careful and cut costs. You know, they're going to try and do an arena show at WrestleMania, and that's going to, it's going to raise the cost. Fuck you. They're getting the equivalent of the deal that they have with Fox with Peacock. They're getting essentially 2 Fox deals right now. They're getting rid of the network so that they can license their content, because that's where the money is. That's the natural resource. That's the oil in all of this. And they have the oil. They want to stop exploiting the oil. They just want to give the oil. They say, here's the pipeline. Take it. You know, and it's important to separate both. It's because you can enjoy NXT, you can enjoy Raw or SmackDown and the talent. That's one thing. But these corporate practices are vile. These are just vile corporate practices. They're the worst kind of capitalism, folks. It really, really is. And I wish there was a true to form way to hold them accountable. But they don't give a shit about their employees. The people that broke their backs to make sure that WWE stays profitable, everything that they had to pivot to make the fucking Thunderdome work, and all the adjustments that they had to do that we don't see to the structure, to the corporate structure, because they're furloughing people and more people are taking on more work. What a shit show this company is. Wouldn't blame anyone to take a hike the minute that everyone in the United States has their vaccines and everyone's hiring again. As Anakin just said in the super chat, indeed, more important to build a new headquarters than give raises. Give rages, which is what I'm doing right now. And like Anakin said, Peacock billion kicks in March. Also, yeah, the first of the 5 years starts in March as well. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out. I wanted to point that out because I feel like it's been an underreported story, probably because it has no impact on what us as viewers see. But Jesus Christ, what a shit company. What an absolutely shitty organization to work with. An organization that will fire people on the day that they announce that they have made close to $1 billion in profits in a year. Absolutely soulless, heartless, disgusting. And to wrap it up, Anakin left us a super chat. Thank you very much, Anakin. He says, you should have a cooler full of Major Melon Dew right just here. And just pop it open and right? And gloop. Every time. I should have a cooler right here. That's actually a good idea. I might implement that. Well, one thing is that I'm going to implement is the end of the show. We're going to wrap this one up for tonight, folks. I want to thank you all again so very, very much for joining me tonight. Post show, anyone? Patreon.com/MrWarrenHayes. Come join in, become a patron. And I'm doing an AMA tonight if you want to jump right in. Saturday morning, Garrett Kidney, Elimination Chamber predictions. Saturday morning, 11 a.m., recorded live. Come and join us there. That's going to be a great time. But I can't thank you enough for being here, guys. And I'll have an idea for some channel growth next week. I'm excited to share it with you. It'll be great stuff. Thank you, everyone. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.